Good morning, everybody. My name is Christine Brewer, and I am a village agent based in Taunton. And today I am joined very kindly by Nigel Mears-Raby, who is going to talk about Somerset Day. Now, as part of living in Somerset, I'm sure we all know about Somerset Day, and we celebrate it with lots of celebrations. And certainly in the village I live in, we put up lots of bunting, and we do various events. But but Somerset Day now has expanded to be Somerset 365, and Nigel is joining us to tell us more about that. Morning, Nigel.
Good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me to join you. Yes, I mean, I'm thrilled to hear Christine saying, I'm sure you all know about Somerset Day, but I think there are probably quite a lot of people who don't know about Somerset Day. So maybe a very brief background on what it is. It's a community interest company, a not-for-profit community interest company, which was formed about 6 years ago now, with the very simple aim of celebrating Somerset as a place to live, work, play and learn. And we centre that around the 11th of May, which is Somerset Day itself. And there are celebrations that normally take place either side of that day over the weekend before and after. Obviously, this year that proved to be rather more difficult. And as Christine said just now, Bishop's Lydeard had always been at the forefront of celebrating Somerset Day. And of course, like all the other villages and organisations, wasn't able to do so this year. So our celebrations were moved online. And actually we were very successful, but we desperately missed the real events. And we're looking already at Somerset Day 2021 to see how we can celebrate in 2021. And we're rather hoping that by May the 11th next year, we might all be wanting to rush out and enjoy ourselves once again without all these terrible restrictions we're having to struggle with. So we're still planning to have a full raft of celebrations around Somerset Day, but we will also have a plan B, which allows us to once again do it online if necessary. So that's a bit of background about Somerset Day. And you kindly asked me to talk a bit about something called Shop Somerset, which is what we started really at the start of lockdown. And I know that the Community Council for Somerset has got a database of businesses that they can look up and call upon to enable people who are stuck at home for whatever reason to get food and other necessities. We had a look at what was happening with sort of shopping, if you like, during the lockdown, and I suppose this came out of my attempt to try and sign up to one of the big supermarkets to get deliveries, because I'm supposedly I'm not in the shielded category, but I'm ancient enough to have to be a bit more careful, and I couldn't, of course, get signed up anywhere. I mean, everybody was trying to get on, and we couldn't. And then I thought, well, actually, why do I want to sign up to a ruddy supermarket anyway, when I've got so many wonderful local businesses that I could get in touch with? And out of that grew the idea, well, actually, we could do a lot of good as a community interest company by creating a listing of local businesses which would help community cohesion, help people find where they could get initially food and drink. And we launched that in March, I think it was. We've got 110 food and drink businesses on it currently. It's hosted on our current Somerset Day website, but the exciting news is that we are later, early in November, we'll be launching a brand new separate website for Shop Somerset, with the aim of encouraging not just food and drink suppliers, but any local artisan business who wants to gain greater exposure to list themselves on the site and it's got an interactive map, or it will have an interactive map as well, so that you can see where if you live in Bishop's Lydeard, as you do, Christy, you'll be able to look around Bishop's Lydeard and see what the businesses are that you could perhaps contact and deal with. And I think what we're trying to do is to encourage communities to recognise that on their doorstep, they've got some wonderful local businesses. And we're doing this slightly differently to other, there are other listings, you can find other listings, but most of them contain shops of all sorts, including supermarkets, the co-op, Tesco's, all that sort of thing. Well, we've made a very clear decision here, and that is that we will only list Somerset born and bred businesses, so that we're encouraging local businesses and encouraging people to shop and buy local. So that's a sort of the overview, and I'm sure there are questions that you and others might want to ask without me sort of banging on for ages.
No, that's really, as you say, we had there was a huge problem as agents when COVID started, trying to get people signed up to these supermarkets, and in a lot of cases we just couldn't do that. So we were very reliant on volunteers from the community going out to do shopping for these elderly, because that's the only way they could get their shopping done. It just became impossible to register people online at these supermarkets. And certainly I know locally, our local farm shop, for instance, they became a real lifeline to some of our villagers here and the local community around the villages, because they stayed open, they delivered, they would take phone orders, which the supermarkets to start with didn't do. So I'm sure that it's something people have become really aware of their local shops, and also wanting to support locally, because we need people to stay in work, don't we? There's so many people affected by redundancies. We need to really push our businesses to keep people employed as well.
I think that's absolutely right. I think that, the fascinating thing we've found is that, as you quite rightly say, Chrissy, that it's incredible how hard it is to deal with the supermarkets and to get through to them. And what I've found is how incredibly easy it is to get through to our local businesses. They're keen to answer the phone. They're keen to help out. I mean, we've got Pines the Butchers here. I mean, I actually had when I went in on one day, he just said, if ever you want anything delivered, just give us a buzz and we'll do it. So I think there's this real willingness to help the community and to be part of the community, and I couldn't agree with you more that I think we, as individuals, as consumers, given that these local businesses really stepped up to the mark during lockdown, we should give them our support now going forward. They're part of our community life, and we've seen lots of these great community village stores sort of opening up, and they need to be supported. There are a lot of people who are putting in a huge amount of voluntary work in these
right.
stores, and we owe it to them and to ourselves to be using those community shops and to enjoy them, and the other great thing is, whilst we're trying to all save the planet, trying to cut down on waste and food miles and all this sort of thing, what better way of doing that than shopping local?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Fiona Gaffer is one of our ladies, and Fiona's been brilliant. And I don't know if you can see the comment there, but Fiona runs a business in Wellington, actually, Nigel. And she provides meals. She does superb meals, and she's asking for the link. So I'm hoping that Hannah will put your link. Have you got what will be the new website address, or you?
The new website isn't live yet. The link at the moment is www.somersetday.com, and there is a page on there for Shop Somerset. But if anybody who wants to be a part of the new setup, they can. On the Somerset Day website, there's an email address, and please do email me, and I will get in touch. We're very keen to build this, and we want to make it work, and these are just the sort of businesses we want to have on board and to be able to support.
Yeah. Can you, because obviously like we're very aware of like Potter's Pounds and what they did in Wellington as well. And I say we were really supported well by Fiona over in Wellington. I'm going to move on a little bit, just because I've promised this on when I've been advertising that I was coming on today. Can you explain why Somerset Day is around about the 11th of May?
Yes, I can. We started when we came up with the idea of the community interest company was founded. We were, I think, a little bit vague about what we wanted to do, and you will know a truly wonderful person in your village called Kathy Ford,
Yes.
and Kathy sent a message to us saying, why don't we have a day to celebrate Somerset? Why don't we have a Somerset Day? Because other counties do. And we actually thought it was a brilliant idea, and took it up. And so we organised an online poll. Over 8,000 people took part, and we gave them 3 alternative dates, which were put forward by Tom Mabry, who's the Chief Executive of Heritage South West, runs the County Museum. And one of those dates was to celebrate when King Alfred left the marshes at Athelney and defeated the Danish army in May 878. And that we had St Dunstan as another one. We had the Battle of Sedgemoor. Anyway, Alfred came out as the top on the poll. So we now celebrate Somerset Day on and around the date that's most likely thought to have been when Alfred the Great defeated the Danish army. And the interesting thing about that is that Alfred the Great became the first king of the English. He's the first king to have his name on the coinage as king of the English. And a little known fact is that Somerset is actually the oldest county in the UK and predates any state in Europe. So we've a lot to be proud of.
Wow. I also read that he's also the only English monarch to be given the title the Great.
He is indeed, yes. So quite a figure in our history, and you know, it all started here in the marshes in Somerset. Yeah,
brilliant. A little bit more about, because I know sort of like how much we do. How can is the word spreading on to around all of like the villages and around the other areas of Somerset? Are they doing?
It's spreading, not as fast as we would like. We're a very small organisation, and like all community interest companies, it's mainly run by volunteers. So we have to work hard to raise awareness, but we do try and do that, particularly through social media. I mean, we did the year before last. I mean, 2019 on Somerset, we were trending, and this year we were trending on Twitter for 7 hours, and we had over 14 million impressions on Twitter. So we're getting known, but we could do with being better known. I think what's a great shame is that, you know, it rather stopped in its tracks this year, because we were expecting there to be a lot more villages and organisations taking part, and of course that was all lost. I mean, and it's really down to the great thing about Somerset Day is it's all about organisations and villages celebrating Somerset, celebrating their community, and we give them a platform to get a greater audience so that they can raise more money for their particular local cause. And our only requirement on anybody taking part and we promoting it is that the money must come back in. Any money they make over and above their costs must go back into Somerset itself in some for either their community or the wider county. So that it's very much a Somerset-based initiative designed to support Somerset people, businesses, communities, and to help them generate funds for much needed causes.
Mm. And what events, for instance, were obviously they were cancelled, but what events were planned for this year that maybe we can look forward to next year?
I mean, I suppose from the very big, like Eat Taunton, which is held on the Saturday nearest to the 11th of May. In 2019, they had over 20,000 people visit that.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Through to bring and buy stalls at a village hall, lectures given by online, talks given at the county museum. Also, I mean, the fascinating thing is the huge range of things that people came up with, ideas they came up with to celebrate. Special walks on the Quantox and Exmoor. I mean, a lot of really original thought had gone into sort of how can we do something that's different. So they aren't just villages putting on a fete or a show. You know, the West Somerset Railway, well, while it was running, they put on a special train.
Yes.
Coombe Gardens put on a Somerset Day tea. 2 years ago, St Margaret's Hospice ran something called the Great Somerset Tea Party over the month of May. And they raised over £10,000 for the hospice.
Wow.
So lots of different things, and I think it makes people sit up and think, well, actually, we could do something. You know, we could. This is an opportunity to raise the profile of our organisation, our community, our village, whatever it is, and to raise some money for our good causes locally.
Yeah. So in effect, what could we could put sort of like businesses and social enterprises could join together.
Absolutely.
You know, to raise even more awareness, make even more money for that particular sort of enterprise going back in.
Part of what we see Shop Somerset doing is by raising the profile of businesses in Somerset, giving them opportunity to link in with their local communities. So when their communities are doing an event or something, they can be part of that and help support it. Because, you know, all the time, I suppose one thing that's come out of COVID is that an awareness that community really does count.
Yes.
And actually, you know, from our point of view, from our perspective as a community interest company, we want to encourage community cohesion. We want to encourage people to believe in their communities and to have pride in their communities and to have pride in the wider county of Somerset.
Yes, I think just thinking about it, we're going, which is great, coming full circle where our elderly population, particularly, this is what they're used to. That before these big supermarkets came in, when I was a child, we didn't have the Tesco's, you know, in the size we do now, and the Sainsbury's and whatever. You did shop local, and in fact, you shopped with the van that came around and got your veg and things from the van that came as well. And it's really good to see that hopefully we can go full circle and we can
and without looking to offend supermarkets, I have to say that the produce our local producers produce is so much better.
Yeah,
you know, nothing better than proper fresh food produced and grown locally, you know.
That's right. And hopefully our children will see that as well, because if we start using this and our local suppliers and our local shops and even the pubs, because we've got local pubs and they only use local produce.
Yep.
So, you know, just to use your local pub that is using the local produce, and you can see it listed often in the local pub that their meat has come from somewhere, you know, Dulverton or Exmoor or in this particular area, and you can see where it's all coming from. So you know you are still supporting a local business, particularly the independent pubs, but they are supporting by using the local produce and of course employing our local people.
Well, we have more farm food and drink producers than any other county in the UK in Somerset.
Wow.
We have 8,500 at the last count. You know, these are independent businesses based in this county, proud of their heritage in this county. That's only the food and drink side. I mean, our plan for the new Shop Somerset website is that we move beyond that, and because there are so many other artisan businesses in this county, people are doing all sorts of wonderful different things, making them, and all of them have the same problem in a sense, which is how am I known? How do I get known better? Because yes, it's easy enough to have a Facebook page or to have a website, but unless somebody looks at that, it's no good at all. I mean, it's wonderful to have a great website, but if nobody knows where to find it or where it is. So our plan is to create this platform which all these businesses can come on to, and it will create a much greater awareness than they could do on their own. And we're even looking, I mean, we're hoping this year, I mean, it depends on how quickly we're able to get the new website up and running, because the current Shop Somerset on the Somerset Day website is not really what we want. It's not as good as we want it. But if we can get it up and running, which we're planning to do, we're even hoping to plan and have a virtual Christmas market on our platform and our web for all of those listed on the website.
Oh gosh, that would be brilliant. And that's on the new website.
We have a new website, which should be going live in the first half of November.
Okay, and just another thought that's popped into my head. So, could this be like local artisan people that are just working for themselves from home, like the crafters and things?
Absolutely. I mean, we ultimately want to we will divide it up into various different categories, so that if you're making, I don't know, pottery, or if you're all sorts of different categories, basically, because the whole why we're creating the new website is that that ease of use is it's got to be user friendly, because if it grows, which we hope it will, then we could be talking about hundreds of businesses in it. And you've got to be able to access what you want quickly and easily. We all know that people's attention span on online is quite short. Yeah. So we will be categorizing it and making it and regionalizing it so that it makes it much easier to come on board. And we'll be off. We're going to have to make a small monthly charge for people to be on this, because obviously this is quite a big project, and much like to do it without any charge, and we can't. But we're a not-for-profit organisation, so we'll only charge what we need to make it work. And we will be doing the first year at half price anyway, so that we encourage more and more people to get on it early and to test it, see how it works.
Yeah, and hopefully once they're doing that, they'll spread the word, and you'll get more and more people using it. I'm wanting to go, because I know you are part of this as well. I want to go on to talk about the enhanced social enterprise scheme that's in the Southwest. And I don't know how much people do know, but there's a scheme in the Southwest, and it's called the Heart of Southwest Social Enterprise Programme. It is received over £1 million to stimulate economic growth in the Southwest. The Southwest being Devon, Cornwall, and ourselves, but there's a huge pot available in Somerset, and this is to support and it's to stimulate economic growth, support innovation, business, and create jobs. And they've also got a website, and they run various events. Now, normally they hold training events. You can have a look at the website. You can link onto their website, and it's free for Somerset members at the moment, so there is no charge for it if you want to join. But that will give you support in setting up a business, running your village hall, running a theatre group. Maybe you've got a children's service that you're running, through to a local business, and it puts you in contact with peer people, your peers. It runs peer events and support, gives you a profile on their website, does event training, but this year it has done some webinars, I've noticed. One actually on COVID and surviving COVID was one of their last webinars, and also the stress and how you manage running your own business. So that is a really good program to look at, and that can be found at www.enhancesocialenterprise.org.uk. And I know, Nigel, you've got some input on there.
We joined up. I mean, I think it's an excellent organisation, because I think it provides advice. I mean, interesting enough, I mean, one of the things that we've been looking at is how do we obtain funding to help run the community interest company, and we've actually made an application through one of the schemes that's promoted by the Social Enterprise Network. So I think it's, you know, it's not just that you can get advice and support from peer groups, but there's very useful information about where you can look for funding and other help, because most of us organisations are voluntary organisations. We need help. You know, we're enthusiastic. We love what we do. We're committed to what we do, but we need help, even when we don't have a crisis like COVID. And I think that's where things like the Social Enterprise Network and the Community Council for Somerset are so important, because they provide information, support, advice, help, which it's sometimes quite difficult to find elsewhere.
Yeah. Do you also, apart from this, and do you, because obviously you are a voluntary organisation as well, so do you go through Spark to get any support?
Yes, we get our regular communication from Spark, and I mean, obviously, again, before lockdown, I used to go to their regular events, which I found really helpful. Because what they do is they bring together organizations in the area, and you know, we're different, but we've a lot of common problems, a lot of common issues, and sometimes just actually hearing from somebody else about what they've done or how they've done something helps hugely. So I think all these things are terribly important. You know, sometimes people say, well, you know, I just want to see how they can get me some money, but actually it's not that. It's about how can we learn. You know, a lot of these organizations in Spark and the Community Council of Somerset, the Social Enterprise Network, have been through what newcomers, if you like, are going through. You know, it might be a village hall refurbishment, it might be doing something in the playing fields. You know, how did they do it? Where did they get the help from? How did they approach their community? So things like that are really useful, and organizations like Spark and CCS and the Social Enterprise Network are really important in that area, because you're not, you know, otherwise you're just reinventing the wheel. I mean, because you go to one of those meetings, and I know that at the moment we can't go to them, but you talk to people there, and suddenly you go, oh my gosh, well, we've got that problem as well. That's how you dealt with it, isn't it?
Yeah. Fiona has asked a question here. She says, how do I apply for funding? Are there deadlines?
Well, you need to look on the website. I mean, the scheme we've applied under was the Kickstart Growth Scheme, which I know I gather was heavily oversubscribed, and I mean we're actually still waiting to hear whether we've been successful or not. And I think, but I think it was reopened for tourism businesses recently. And there's also something called the Central Funding Newsletter, which is quite a useful thing to sign up to, because that helps you get information about where funds are. Because the big thing for all of us, if we are looking to get some funding, is where do I look? Where do I go?
Yeah, but I guess if she goes on to the website, the social enterprise website, then the information, I know Hannah has just put up the link for that, but I guess if she goes to the social enterprise website, she could follow links from there and it would give her that information.
You know, because I mean, they have links as well. They have connections with, you know, with an advice about where you can get funding.
Yeah, brilliant. I haven't seen any other questions, and I think I've completed my questions. It's been really interesting. So I'm just going to just recap on what we've covered. So we've looked at the Shop Somerset, and please look on the Somerset Day website. It's brilliant. It's got lots of information, and for events that obviously they're not there now, but they will be coming up, fingers crossed, next year, and you can find out what's going on in your area, even, you know, if it's not your area, but you're going to be, you know, if you're not going to be in West Somerset, but you're going to be in South Somerset, nearest the 11th of May, an event, you'll know what's going on over there. And also have a look, try and encourage Somerset Day. We have a huge thing in our village. There's yarn bombing, and we get totally covered in yarn bombs and banners and things all over the place in the village. But it's brilliant because the children get involved as well, and they become really involved, and they know totally, you know, through the school what Somerset Day is all about, and promoting it. So please look at the website and keep an eye open for what's coming, and promote these local businesses. I know we've done, as agents, we've done this, as I've said before earlier on, we are doing it a lot because we found such difficulty getting people sorted out through large supermarkets, and it has been superb to actually help the local businesses and keep them going and growing, not just going, but growing as well. So please look at the site, support, you know, your local shops and your local businesses, and that's going to keep Somerset very healthy. I've learned some really how Somerset is the first county and the first area and whatever. It's been brilliant. So that's been great. Oh, hang on, we've got somebody who's just asked a question. Harold Compton, good morning. Have you heard of Taunton Life? That's the magazine, isn't it? Taunton Life?
Yes, I think, yes.
Yes, I have, because I read it.
Yes, I'm sure it's the one. I mean, it comes out, I think it comes out with, it's part of the County Gazette. I think it comes out monthly, doesn't it? Yes,
I know it. I don't get late. I know, but if I go into a couple of areas in Taunton, I'm able to pick up a copy of the Taunton Life and there, and also Somerset Life as well.
That's a different one. I think that covers the whole county.
Yes.
That's Arch and Publications do that one.
Yeah. But yeah, Taunton Life gives you lots of information on locally what it's about, what is happening, and on local businesses. So yeah, very much read your local publications as well. And those sort of things are good because obviously not everybody can access the website, and often elderly don't access.
I think also the other thing that's worth perhaps giving a mention to is that for the last 2 years, BBC Somerset Radio have been really strong supporters of Somerset Day.
Yeah.
If you have an event or thinking of doing something around Somerset Day in 2021, just bear in mind that, you know, that this is because of the connection we have with them. You know, they're going to be helping publicise events and Somerset Day as a whole, because I think what we're trying to achieve is to give communities the opportunity to really raise their profile and to get more people interested, because traditionally, you know, I'm sure in Bishop's Idiot, you know, you go around hanging up posters and and telling people, putting things through doors, but that's quite a small catchment area. And what we can do is to by publicising the event, whether it's Bishop's Idiot or anywhere else, suddenly that reaches the whole county. And as you quite rightly said, Chrissy, you know, people do travel about. They do want to go to somewhere different. And if we can encourage them to support another village as well as their own, that's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've just reached all areas of Somerset. So we've got obviously Sedgemoor, Mendip, West Somerset, and Sedgemoor and South Somerset all joining us. So we've spread the news this morning. Hopefully we've if somebody didn't know about Somerset Day, they do now, and they can get on and find out about it. And certainly the Shop Somerset, really important. Get onto Shop Somerset and find your shops. And also, if your local shops, if your local shops aren't on it at the moment, would it be best for them to wait until November?
Yes, I think the new site is what we're aiming at, because but they should get in touch now. So if somebody wants to recommend a local business, or if a local business wants to be part of this, get in touch now, because we'll chat to you about it and tell you a bit more about how it's going to work, and see how we can help you. You know. So yes, please do get in touch now, and you can do that through the Somerset Day website.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please check the websites out, get all the information you can, and support our local businesses. And that will be the end of me for today. Join the Talking Cafe tomorrow and every day at 11 o'clock. So, thank you again, Nigel.
Thank you.
And, I hope it goes better for next year. I hope we can really get out there and we can really celebrate it next year.
It could be just the right timing, because what we're hoping is that suddenly this is going to be the end of the COVID thing. Spring will be there, and this will be our chance to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out there and actually meet people and really go for it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody else. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.